And those are the two things that I just keep see coming up. A lot of questions about notching. I know it's a pretty new concept that we've been playing with.
I know.
And, why do we think it is helping, how we found it just watching natural hooves chip out, and just watching
Yeah.
end result of it. But I don't know if you have anything that you can just real quick, once again, kind of go over that and then the difference between real heels, i.e. what they should be composed of. So how much of true heel, hard heel versus heel bulb,
Hmm.
coronary band versus just stretched heel bulb. Just pictures showing the differences between of what is a true heel, what it looks like versus one that's just all stretched heel bulb.
Yeah. Um, I was laughing a little bit when you said if you could just real quick go over it.
I know. But you know what I mean? I see
Me.
people saying, "Oh, I have 2 inches of heel," and then you look at it and like, no, you don't.
No, I was laughing at me being quick about something.
I know. Well, it was like, no, you don't. You have 2 inches that is comprised of mostly stretched heel bulb.
Yeah. Um,
You know,
okay.
the big, because I think they think they're further than they are, and they really aren't. And they
Yep.
need to understand the difference between 2 inches of incorrect heel
Yeah.
versus 2 inches of correct or semi-correct heel.
Yeah, I know it's confusing, isn't it?
Yes, and I see a lot of, especially newer people, really don't understand.
Okay. Well, let me take a drink of water here.
Just trying to go over some of the basics again that I see that just keep, questions keep evolving around these things.
Okay. Hold on here a second. Let me think.
Unless anybody has hooves they want to go over, be my guest. If nothing
Yeah,
else, that's
if
just a
you have
thought.
some specific hoof or a horse you'd like to evaluate,
That's more important. But if they don't,
yeah, okay. Um, well, just a minute here. Do. I'm just seeing who's here. So, okay. You have to give me a minute to think.
it's okay.
Um, and look up some pictures. Um,
I'm just like going back to the basics again in some of these chats for the newer people, just that we can refer them to some of the later chats and say, here Linda shows, you know, stretched heel bulb versus correct heel height, maybe looking at
yeah,
Valor as he changed and he went from, stretched heel bulb into what does a true heel bulb in the back look like? How wide should it be? What should it look like? What should real heel look like?
yeah. Let me, I'm gonna go to Valor's pictures because I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure I have some pictures of him with really wide bulbs.
I know you do.
Um, so let me go find that and then explaining, trying to, because it doesn't happen to all horses.
No.
It depends on how strong their cartilages are when the back of the foot is being forced down by lowering the heels. Um, let's just let's look at something here. Just a minute here. Let me find something.
And also, speaking of that, like when you like my boy went low, his cartilages just went and that was it.
Hmm.
He did the flat pancake thing.
Oh,
That
okay.
they have a very forward slanted heel. It may be 2 inches,
Hmm.
but even if the heel bulb is not very wide, it's still not a correct heel because of the angle at which it is.
Ah, okay.
I see so much misunderstanding of what they think they have that they don't understand really still correct heels
Yeah. Well,
visually.
yeah, I know because it's hard,
I know.
you know? It is difficult.
And we keep talking about restoring the heels, and they're like, okay, so
But what's
everyone's
a
like,
real
what do good
heel?
heels look like? Okay,
Yeah.
let's go over it again.
Yeah, because It's been something that we have had to grow into,
Correct.
because the frog is also part of the heels. I mean, the whole configuration
Correct.
back there has been something that we have had to gradually figure out because with a combination of some dissections, yes, but a lot of times when you're dissecting feet, they're not correct to begin with.
Correct.
And then wild horse feet and then domestic horse feet. I mean, it's just such a conglomeration of mixture of things that have led to these little tiny improvements and different views of what it should be, you
Hey,
know?
Linda.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Tiffany. Hello, everyone. I sent you via Messenger a side by side of stretch bulbs versus Valors.
Oh,
Looks like.
okay.
I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly, but that's
That
what I think.
okay. Just a minute and I'll go find it here.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
constantly trying to re-explain this. You have heel, but it's not correct heel, and this is why. Well, I have
yeah.
heel. His foot's up off the ground. Yes, I see that. But there's so many parts of the heel that are not correct yet.
Yeah. Let's see. I
It's
have
not, yeah.
lost just a second here. I seem to have lost the zoom. Where are you? There you are. Okay.
And a lot of us
Um,
have been playing with notches, which is fun. I think
yeah.
people shouldn't just randomly slap in a notch because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Um, it's something that you kind of have to understand the hoof a little bit more before you put one in, where to put it in, how big to make it. There is
Hmm.
no science to it. I mean, like, there is no hard and fast rule that it needs to be this big by this tall by this long.
Yeah.
We're all doing different versions with different tools that look different, and I think that's
Yeah.
confusing a lot of people too, that like, why are we doing these quote unquote notches? Like, you just put some, if I remember right, on Valor. I think you put a couple in his hinds
Yeah.
that
I,
were pretty significant. And I'm like, oh God, if people go and do that,
yeah.
thinking that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. I don't want people thinking that. And, I've been trying to restore my horse's heels for a very long time. So he's got a lot of capsule to work with,
Correct.
and stuff. So there's everything at the right time and in the right way. We shouldn't feel bad because the whole hoof care world has not been able to figure it out.
No.
Okay. And so they just blame the lame on anything but what they're actually doing. To whereas we know uh the wild horses and it doesn't even have to be a wild horse that's out in a pretty good sized pasture
Yeah.
will have better feet than one that has constant hoof care. This is a constant. This is a constant. That's what I see as a constant. Yeah, you'll get your occasional ones that don't. Okay, but horses that get enough movement out in the pasture and they might have what looks like a long toe and chipped feet, but in reality, their feet are better. And so if you just barely kind of trim them up, they trim right up to specs practically, you
I'm
know.
going through that right now. I'm letting them grow after some significant changes.
Hmm.
Bree became a little sore. I told you about that.
Yeah,
And I'm like, he's better now, but now I'm letting him grow out to see what changes happened and where things are still growing out very incorrectly.
yeah,
Toes shooting this way and that way, and whatever. Boy, are they ugly right now. And
yeah,
I see people looking at them, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
whatever. You know,
Whatever.
yeah, it's not as bad
Sound,
as what
he's
people
sound, but they
think.
look like hell.
Yeah, because we were trained in our head.
They need to be pretty.
Yeah, yeah, and that's not true. Not at all.
So I'm like taking this ugly as a badge of honor. Look how ugly they are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they're
I
all
know.
chipped up and they're growing this way and that way. And I'm letting them go even another week or two because I want to
Yeah.
see where the growth is going that I don't want it to.
Yeah.
And boy, is it's bizarre. And people just look at him like, the farrier comes here every week, right?
Do you have any pictures? Not
No,
that
I
you'd
gotta
want to
take
share, I'm
some,
sure.
but it's pretty funny. It's like, no, I mean, they're just all chipped up along the toe. The toe got too long, then the toe quarters got too long,
Hmm.
and they just look like, some mad little beaver was chewing at the edges of them.
Uh-huh.
And the shape is a little weird. And, I put some funky looking notches in, and I was experimenting using my Proxon with the yellow grinding head,
Oh yeah.
trying to figure out how to make notches because they're rock hard right now.
Uh-huh.
Trying to use that. So they're funky looking notches.
Well, I'm
But
sure it'll be fine.
yeah, but I mean, they're bizarre looking feet right now. And I just see people look at them and they're like, the farrier comes here every week, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the insight. Yes,
Yeah,
I am.
well, the thing about it is, man, more and more I see how some of these real chipped up feet aren't as bad as what people are thinking,
Right.
you know, not at all. It's much worse to just take everything a horse needs to have any stability, and that goes on all the time. So horses, and even in the wild, they're not always pristine. A lot of times they have looks like a long toe and an underrun heel and a big chip out of the side. But what we're learning is these are ways they correct their own feet after certain thing. Oops, excuse me. After certain things like winter comes and they have to travel even further and move even more to get whatever food they're going to get. And so they wear their feet out more and they tend to bind their feet. They wear the heels down, they wear the toes down, the whole capsule gets condensed and smaller. And then spring comes and there's more grass, they have to move less, there's more water, their feet start to grow out, and the toes get longer and they put leverage on the toe pulling it forward, and which puts leverage on the back of the foot pulling it back, and then the quarters bust out. Okay, and the foot expands again, and then the heels come up to where they're supposed to and back, and then eventually the last thing to break off will be the toe.
That
And
picture you have where the sides are all broken off and you have that long toe?
yeah,
I love that picture.
yeah, me too. So it's a process. They're created to do all these things. They are designed to do them. Um, and so I was thinking the other day because I seen somebody on on the group, and they were asking about the I guess I had a file on hoof binding that isn't there anymore or something. Probably because I changed my web page. And so I thought, I need to write a full thing on foot binding, and how it happens and why it happens, how ultimately it's a natural process.
But
It's a
that's going to
nat
be a whole book. That's not just a file.
no, that's true. But but I can have it put into bullet points.
Yes.
Okay. I've found that I can take Bracy Clark's whole book and have it put into bullet points. All right, which is very going to be very handy. Um, of course, you got to watch that bullet point maker guy. But anyway, to the point of it's a natural process that takes place for the survival of the horse. Okay. And so I think people need to understand that first, that it is a natural process. If a horse is wearing its foot out and its heels out, it can come out of the capsule. The foot can come out of the capsule with different leverages. And so the foot, this periople skin we're seeing right here, this amazing product right here is uh the horse's survival is dependent upon this stuff right here, you know. And so this is what connects the hoof capsule to the skin on the leg. It's the transition between the leg and the capsule. And then it's got this skin, big, thick skin band around it. And so when what happens is, let me get another picture up here. So people, so like Tiffany sent us this picture. And Tiffany, this is kind of, but not really what we're talking about. What you have here is you just kind of have some bulbs that maybe just kind of pulled down some. This is nothing like really what we're talking about. This is not any kind of a horror fest going on here. You should be happy with that. Um,
Horror fest.
yeah. Well, gosh, you know,
I
we've
know.
all had these terrible things. This isn't that bad. His bulbs and his cartilages are pulled down some, but what happens with this bulb skin thing is that these cartilages will not stay down. Instead, they want to be up here. Like these ones do want to be up there, but he's got really firm, strong back of the foot that's kind of really firm, holding things in place. But a lot of these horses, they will not, their bulbs will not be forced down like that. And so what they do is they stretch back up. And as they stretch back up, so they could still have very little heel, but then the bulbs will stretch back up to where the bulb skin would be, well, let's see, I'm looking for a color. We'll use this. Instead of this, what you see here, instead of this, it's like this. This whole thing will be bulb. Big, fat, wide bulbs, all skin. See, you got hair here. The hair will be up here. And all of this skin on the bulbs, bulb skin, because this hair right here, because it's connected to this cartilage and stuff, it refuses. First of all, the digital cushion is all in here and it's fat. So when you force the back of this foot down, you're compressing that digital cushion, which then that digital cushion is pressing back because it wants to be released. At the same time, you've got this cartilage up here. Well, it's cartilage. It's not supposed to be down here, it's supposed to be up here. And so the digital cushion pushing along with the cartilage pulling, and whatever other forces are going on in the foot, well, this hairline right here starts being pulled up. And as it's being pulled up, the periople is starting to work overtime to grow to try and hold the foot onto the capsule. Okay, because you'll see where some cases where like this part here didn't hold and the foot will come out and you'll see and it'll be bloody right here because the foot just pulled out of the capsule. In
People
this
think
case,
it's an abscess sometimes. An abscess.
yeah, exactly. And what it is no, the back of the foot just pulled up out of the capsule because the heels were lowered, forcing the back of the foot down into an unnatural position that it's not supposed to be in. And so all this cartilage, and there's so much pressure here. And not only that, but when the horse breaks over, you know how when you break over in your shoe, it kind of pulls on your heel?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, that's going on too. Um, so there's the pull of motion, and there's the pull of just how cartilage and fat is. Fat is meant to set in a certain location passively. The cartilages are passive unless the pastern descends onto the digital cushion and spreads them apart. So just like our body parts are pretty much passive less we use them, right?
Right.
Okay. But like the example I always give, your nose pressed over to the side of your face. Right away, everything in that nose starts going and pushing back because it's not supposed to be there. And so this is the same thing. Uh, the cartilages are not supposed to be way down here. The digital cushion is not supposed to be compressed in the foot. Um, and you like notice here this little area right here, okay? And then notice Tiffany on your horse, his little area right here. See how it's puffy compared to that? Okay, that's because yeah, he does have some compression and different things going on in the back of his foot. Eventually this all here is going to rise up to where it's going to be up here. See, and then and then this will be full of frog down here. See, but all of this here is going to rise up to here. Let me undo this.
Sorry, I thought that was bulb skin, so
Oh,
I
well,
apologize.
it is, but it isn't the kind of stretched bulb skin that we're talking about.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
no, you're right. It is bulb skin right here. It's the back of the frog or the periopal skin. Okay, and your bulbs are in there. But the kind of bulb skin we're talking about is where it would be look like this. And I had it on Valor. It would be where this part here is clear up here, and this whole thing was bulb skin.
They're usually quite contracted,
Yeah,
wrapped in, curled in to do on top of it.
yeah, yeah. So this skin, you see this skin here? It would be stretched clear up to here, like that. In a real, in a correct foot, what you would have would be, yeah, the hairline would be lifted up to here. Okay. And but the bulb skin would not be this wide. This skin here would be up here. Like that. And then you would have frog growing here. Like so. And attached to the heels. But it can all look the same color, like it's the same thing. See, it could all look similar to just bulb skin because because uh well, frog and bulb skin and stuff, it can all dry and look the same color so that you don't know the difference. It is sometimes you don't know the difference. So, okay, so this part would be frog. The bulb skin you see down here will actually be up here because what'll happen is the whole back of that foot's going to unroll and pull up, and then the frog that's been forced under here will be pulled back to where it's going to be growing in the back of the foot here, right here. So that would be the true configuration. That's what I'm starting to get up here. Because his frog was pulled way down under his foot. So I'm starting to get that. Here's his bulb skin. It's up off the ground. There's a periopal band right there. Okay, and then you see here a little bit of his frog is starting to come through and pull back behind the foot. You can see this is frog here. You can see it. Just a little bit of it there. Okay, eventually these are going to get higher. Right here, this is going to move up here, and this is going to come back between those heels, and you're gonna see full on frog back here like this. See? And these bulbs are gonna be higher, and this frog stay is gonna be really supporting the back of this foot up in here. You see why it's so confusing? There's quite a conglomeration of stuff going on back here. Um,
That's a good explanation. No,
Linda,
really.
I just sent you a picture of Chance's back when I started. He has lots of bulb skin.
okay, let's see.
I think, just IDing still visually what you're looking at
Oh,
is
God,
still really hard for
it
so
is.
many of us.
It's it's hard for me. It's not easy for me either to, you know.
Yeah,
I'm getting better at it, but the more I do it, the better. Like even doing it this time is helping me see, explain it. Like sometimes you kind of know what's happening, but you have a difficult time explaining it.
right,
Look, we're doing something nobody's ever done before. We're seeing stuff no one's ever seen before in this in many of the details of what we're seeing because people never had cameras. You know, we're taking more pictures of our horses' feet than anybody else ever has. Okay. All these people that claim all this research and they did this, that, and the other. Nobody has taken photos like us. Okay. Uh, I don't know of anybody that has a picture of every single trim for 18 years before, during, after, and in between the next trim. I probably have 100,000 photos of this horse's feet. Now maybe that's just one horse, but guess what? I got all you guys too. See, so it's not just like, well, you just did one horse. Well, no, I've done several horses. I had a mare, I had a pony. I did several horses for somebody else. One I'm still doing. So I've kept track of all these now. Well, since 2006. How long is that? 18 years, 19 years, something like that, soon to be. So, and then at first, and plus a video record of what I was doing. So they can't come and say, "Well, you just weren't doing the trim right," because that's what they'd like to do. You just weren't doing it right. Well, yes, I was. In fact, I was doing it better than you. So there you go. Um, and I was finding mistakes as I went and trying to change things because I was raised around wild horses. I know the concept is genuine and true. And so when it didn't happen that way, that's a contradiction. What is wrong? You know, it's got to be the trim because it's not the horse, not the wild horse. See? Oh, hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so anyway, what was I talking about? Um,
We were going to look at Chance's
Oh, that's
picture.
right. Okay. Let's see here. Do 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 do. Go there and Kathy. Oh yes, this is a perfect example, Kathy. Wow, this is ideal. Let's see. Make sure I got there. Oh my goodness, look at that. Yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See? Um, now this was on 7/28/24. So that's a year ago. Do you have a current picture?
Yeah, I'll send you one.
Okay. Yeah, what a great example. See, see, the more your true heels grow in, the less wide these bulbs get. See? Yeah, I mean, us poor humans, how would we even know where to start on something like that? You know what I mean? It's like, and mine were just as bad. Okay. I'll have to see if I can find the picture of mine with huge, humongous skin bulbs and stuff because it was a lot similar, you know? Oh man.
All right, I sent it.
Oh wow. See, that's quite a change. Let me get them together um and put them side by side. Hold on here. Oop-de-doo-de-doo. Let's see. What great example. Oops, oops, wait a minute. Save image. Okay. Save. Wow. Wow, what a difference. Man. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. Okay, now I'll share this. So, so you see the difference in the width and the bulb skin? I mean, she's still got uh some wide bulb skin, but nothing like what it was, you know. And of course, some of it was frog as well, but it is quite different. The shape of the foot. Look at the bulbs here. See, um, the foot was just in it just being so compressed into such a tinier compartment. Um, uh, could you kind of refresh us on the story?
Okay, he's my 29-year-old pony that I used to do low level eventing on. Um, Insulin resistant Cushing pony. Um, he's been foundered several times. Um, Luckily, mostly mild to moderate and nothing severe.
Good.
He has 8 to 10 degrees rotation. Typically, always the right would rotate more than the left, but this last time the left rotated.
Mhm.
Um, he's been done by a traditional farrier. He's never been barefoot trimmed. Um, but still has some of those issues that came along with being shod and, the frog pressure thing. So I found Tact over a year ago, and so that's where we've gone since then, with me taking over doing his feet.
Well, I think you're doing a great job and stuff. I mean, but I still see that his feet aren't correct. You
Oh yeah,
understand what I'm
we
saying?
still got a ways to go, but
Yeah,
making progress.
as I do too. Okay. So I've been through, and stuff, but man, you're doing a very fine job. It looks good. I mean, look at the sole. How much you've cleaned up the frog and the sole, and look at just the shape of the foot, the difference. You know, the way this foot just looks like it was just totally crammed in and bursting at the seams, you know. So for you to come in there and even be able to do any of this and clean up the sole, and I mean everything you're doing is it's great work,
Thank
you
you.
know, because man, this is just not easy. Looking at pictures and stuff, it can even be hard, but then hoof in hand, it's like, oh my goodness, you know. Now do you use a proxon or a grinder or anything like that?
Yeah, I have a 3-inch battery operated grinder that I use mostly.
Okay.
I do have a Proxon that can, with the 2-inch disc, get into the narrower places.
Okay,
I
great.
just I just got a Dremel, so now I can really get like into the frog,
Hey, there you go.
and
Yeah.
along the bar walls and stuff with that. So
Yeah. We'll be
um,
looking forward to seeing
yeah, so
what
I've
happens there.
definitely been on a major learning curve when it comes to tools and using things, and so, but
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah,
Good for you. Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 64.
See there? How disgusting is all this? That us older ladies are forced into trying to help our horses. Like, okay, they'll criticize us and stuff like that. Okay. But we're forced to do this because if I could pay someone to take care of my horse's feet, I'd be more than happy to do it,
Me
you
too.
know? Uh, so we got Marilyn, who's in her 70s. Now how old do you say you were again?
64.
64. I'm 69.
66.
See there? This is pathetic, ladies.
And yeah, and I know Janet does a lot of horses, and I have 3.
Oh,
And my best friend just pulled the front shoes off of her horse, so I came behind the farrier and balanced and cleaned Frog up on her horse. She wants me to do her. I can't even do my 3. How can
yeah.
I do the fourth one? I
And
mean,
how old is she?
I manage a barn. I mean, I'm still doing that, and
Yeah.
teaching and doing body work and trying to ride
Wow.
horse. I mean, I don't have time or the energy.
Wow. No kidding. And trimming is hard,
Oh yeah, and
you
my
know?
Chance is 29, so he can't. It takes time. Just not your normal farrier trimmer that goes boom, boom, bang, and done.
Yeah.
It takes me, 2 hours to do 2 feet.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so they can't hold their feet up. I'm constantly going 1 foot, then let's go work on the
Yep.
other, and let's go work on the other foot, and then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I know. See. Well, I'm really grateful to have you with us and have your experience and your story, you
Thank you.
know?
I just, I'm so thankful I found Tact along the way when it popped up on my Facebook feed.
How does
See?
the, how does the pony move now a year later?
So he vacillates between being able to walk on rocks to not being comfortable walking on rocks.
Mhm.
But you put him on soft ground, he will trot sound, buck, run, the whole 9 yards.
Good.
It's just
Good.
hard time handling the rocks.
Yeah. Well, I can understand why,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff because his feet aren't right, you know, and
I
stuff,
mean,
but they're good enough to where, yeah, I can see where he'd feel good on soft ground.
well, I mean, and he's even trotted on asphalt.
See, that's great.
Just can't do the rocks.
Can't do the rocks. I can understand that and stuff.
I
Now,
can't do the rocks.
see, that's interesting because there's a popular hoof guru. It's not Jackson. It was another one who was enamored of his one dead wild horse foot. And so he tells a story about how he trimmed his own horses, you know, and oh, how sound there were after he had sand dumped everywhere. I just had to laugh at that. Okay, yeah, we know why they can walk around now because you put sand all over your property, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
He goes out in a sand round pen, and oh yeah, he can run and buck and
yeah,
Billy in there without a problem. You put him out in the arena and he can do the same thing. He'll be running across the arena and bucking and carrying on. And yeah, but then you put him on the gravel and he has to take little tiny steps and wince along the way.
yeah, see, and we know that's the test, right?
Yeah.
The ultimate test of sound is like my ultimate test of sound for a long time was, can I walk this horse across the gravel road to the other side
Yep.
without him gimping one time? You know,
Yep.
no, I probably could now. I need to go test him out. But
There, to call it the rock test.
the rock test, yes. Why did the horse cross the gravel road? To see if my trim was getting anywhere.
My horse is true sound.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. But he is sound in boots. See, it's all such a sham, because barefoot with boots is not barefoot, you know. Um, you're still in boots. That means something's wrong with your horse's feet. That have you noticed? You'll see, you'll see these pictures of people riding with boots in soft sod. What is that about? You know, see, barefoot is such a failure because it's based on false doctrines. You know, traditional farriery and barefoot with the frog pressure doctrine is crippling all these horses. So, so this is awesome. Thank you for sharing this. This is exactly what we needed to see here.
So I have a question about these horses that are foundered.
Okay.
So I know, I because I follow tact and everything, different ones pop up on my Facebook feed.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying that they founder because they have high heels.
Yeah.
I'm like, that makes no sense
No.
whatsoever to me. But these foundered horses do. Their their heels are long. Their bulbs and everything are up high. So does that happen because a lot of the stuff in the foot gets pushed to the back of the foot as that rotation happens? And we know the rotation happens from from not having heels.
Mm-hmm.
That just, the more I look at x-rays and pictures of foundered horses, they all have that same profile. The heel.
Yeah.
But that is not real heel. That's sidewall heel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
but it but that's why I don't guess what I'm saying is they think it's the high heel, but the high
mm-hmm.
heel happens when the horse founders,
Yeah.
not before the horse founders, right? So how do these long heels happen when they founder?
Well, see, this is really interesting because I've been seeing all this stuff too.
Good luck on
Um,
this one. I can't wait to hear it.
yeah, really.
But I mean,
Hey, I don't want their followers coming after me now.
I'm thinking too, talk
I'm
about
sorry.
when we talked about the digital
There's
cushion.
like this war going on out there.
When you talked about the digital cushion, you talked about how it's different shapes and what's abnormal and
Yeah.
what's more normal. And a lot of times that digital cushion gets pushed up into the back of the foot.
Yeah.
Does that contribute to this height that we have in the back of these foundered horses' feet as that
Yeah. I think so.
bone column changes?
Yeah. I can understand uh why in looking at x-rays or even looking at feet, they're blaming heels, high heels. Um, uh, and I've seen the x-rays too, and then how they'll trim the heels down and you'll see the coffin bone level. But it's not just a coffin bone in there, there's a whole foot
Mhm.
that they're not understanding because that's something that they've never seen the coriums. The people that taught them, okay, never none of these people have ever seen like what we do is seeing that corium is skin, and that's the first covering, and that's part of the largest organ of the horse. And so you have to take that covering and containment system in and of itself into account. And then the capsule as an individual unit fit on there. So you've got two 3D objects you're figuring out that are growing. Oh, they're growing at the same time. Well, the foot moves and the capsule grows and all this stuff goes on. And um, so you got the one camp. The traditional farriers say that this can happen overnight. Okay,
No.
right? Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, a horse is foundering before they're sore.
Yeah,
24 to
absolute,
48 hours before you see them sore, it's already happened.
absolute. So, let's see. So there's a individual that recently did an article, and this person is a farrier and real nice guy and stuff like that. But um, he did recently did an article about this because see, they're kind of going. They got a war going on between uh the one gal who says their trim is causing it because of the heels. Okay. But okay, this is one thing I want to point out. So, and I could be wrong. Okay. So you have the one gal, Hoofing Marvelous, Lindsay Satchel, who is saying that it's high heels that is causing this rotation. Well, she doesn't call it rotation. She says they don't rotate. Okay. Um, I would have to read more of exactly what she believes to understand fully what it is. But she will show an x-ray and it looks like that horse has high heels, and so it's tipped the coffin bone up on its toe. And because of that, it's uh caused the dorsal wall to separate. See, it's like the heels grew and it tipped the coffin bone up on its toe and back away from the dorsal wall, and that's what caused the laminar wedge. That seems to be what is believed there.
So she's saying the capsule moves, the bone column doesn't move.
I guess that's what
Yeah.
she's saying, you know. And she's saying that it's their trimming because they're growing the heels too high. Okay. So if she or somebody will lower the heels, you'll get the bony column in alignment, and then you just wind up growing the toe out. Okay. But here's the thing, because I got to think about that. What farriers do we know of that are growing heels? Do you know of any?
Nope.
Me neither.
I get a lot of proponents that barefoot trimmers, some of them grow some heel or more heel, and I go, yeah, y'all just don't get it. So
Yeah.
I'll explain all this to people, not in an accusatory way or anything, or that this is
Yeah.
whatever, but people I know use barefoot trimmers, and they go, "Oh yeah, my trimmer, she keeps heels," and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, no."
We have a barefoot trimmer in our barn who swears she doesn't take heel.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I was there trimming a horse and she was at the other end of the barn trimming a horse, whatever. So she leaves way before me because I take way too long. And when I get down there, she hadn't swept up the floor. And then
Mm-hmm. Oh, you cut out. What happened to you?
There was an entire, forgot to hold the button. There
Oh,
was an entire layer of what she took off this horse from heel to heel.
mm-hmm,
And I'm like, yeah, she doesn't take heel.
mm-hmm.
She just left evidence all over the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Then they'll all say that. We don't remove heel, you
Took a
know.
picture of it to my girlfriend who uses this farrier, who swears she doesn't take heel. And I sent the picture to her and I said, your farrier just left. I just took a picture of what's laying on the floor. See the heel? She's like, oh my God. And I'm like, uh-huh.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Oh, can you share that picture with us? No, and I'm
In
not
my phone. Hold on. I gotta find it.
okay. I don't want to condemn anybody either. I'm not going to condemn. I don't agree uh with Lindsay Setchell in any way, shape, or form in just about anything she teaches or does, but I'm not going to condemn her because I know that her foundation was laid by Jamie Jackson. And so so she's got all of his ideas in her background. And so one of those things is ground parallel coffin bone because Jamie Jackson, after 5 years, his first book, The Natural Horse, that didn't have any of the pictures of the horses he supposedly thoroughly measured, examined, and photographed. Okay. Uh, then 5 years later, joins up with that German vet, Dr. Hildred Strasser, to publish the same book where he could have corrected it if that was the wrong number and could have put some pictures in, but he didn't. And so she believed in ground parallel coffin bone, and her level of uh, determining that was to take the coffin bone out of a dead foot, get all the flesh and everything off of it, and get it pristine clear, and throw it on a table, and then measured the angle from the top of the coffin bone down to the table, and that was 30 degrees. And so then she said horses should have a 30-degree hairline, and that is ultimately what you should take the heels down to. You want to take them down to where the coffin bone is ground parallel, but the coffin bone sets in the foot itself at a slight angle. And so when you look at the heels on an internal foot, if you could see, first of all, they're all cartilage. And then the coffin bone is at least an inch forward of that. And it is set inside that foot at a slight angle so that the cartilage gets thicker as it goes towards the heel, which makes sense. And so the coffin bone, as it sets in a foot with all the flesh on it, all of the cartilage and the digital cushion and everything inside, plus covered with skin. Okay. Um, you can't just take a bone out, throw it down, and say that's the way it works. Okay. But that's what she did. And so when you take the heels down to force the hairline down to a 30 degree and make the coffin bone flat, which is what ground parallel means. You take the bone out, throw it on a table, it's flat, sitting there on a flat surface. Okay, it's not elevated a little bit in the back at the heels, what we call a positive palmar angle. So it's a ground parallel palmar angle, flat, coffin bone set and flat. And the only way you can get that is if you trim the heels out enough to start crushing the inner heel up into the foot. And so all these horses have that going on. Just a minute, I'm going to get a picture while I'm remembering what I was talking about because I got into explaining something, and this happens to me often.
Well, we were talking about the length of the heel
Oh,
and them saying that the length of the heel caused the founder, but the
that's
length
right.
of the heel doesn't happen until after the founder occurs.
Yes.
Just get tall behind after
Yeah.
the founder, not before.
Yeah. I had it happen to me on my pony all the time. You know, I'd take that foot down to specs, and then the foot doesn't want to be, well, you've got this pressure uh come, especially I think, okay, because I was trying to think about this yesterday. How is this happening? There's two different scenarios that go on. Um, if you take the heel down, but you don't take the toe back, you get one kind of distortion. It can even lead, it could even lead to founder or laminitis if the toe, the sole in the toe got very thin and the wall got out there long, the the toe could drop through the sole, or the wall could be pushed up because there's no sole there to hold uh to hold together. You kind of understand what I'm saying? It's we talk about um somebody has shoes where the stitching has come loose and they're standing on the sole of the foot, but the top of the shoe is flipping up. You ever seen little kids with shoes like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's what happens. The white line connection is not connecting because of the flared out toe, and the horse is standing on the sole, and the sole's gotten real thin, and you got a big stretched out toe up there. And so you can get a type of laminitis and founder that way, which is like a sinker. The wall just is not connecting with the sole and supporting the foot. Um, but then you got the kind too. You got another kind. If you're trimming out the heels and at the same time you're really taking that toe back, which happens in a lot of barefoot trimming to try and keep that natural 2/3, 1/3 natural balance, as they call it. So then what's happening is the toe is staying back relatively tight. Okay. But what's going on the inside is a whole different deal. Now, all this anatomy in the back is being pulled down and shoved inward to where the digital cushion then and the frog and everything is pushing up into the coffin joint, which is putting pressure on that coffin bone. Well, what happens? You put if you push a joint forward, like if somebody comes behind you, oh, you ever have somebody do that? You're walking like in school or something, the bully, okay, comes behind you and they take their knees and they knock you in the back of your knees and it'll make you fall down. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. So which one were you? No. Okay. Um,
My brother was the bully.
okay. All right. Well, so when you push on that joint, okay, the bottom part of your leg, your calf, your leg, it goes forward, and so that sets the back part of your leg back. So you imagine a coffin joint and small pastern bone hooked to, of course, navicular bone's in there, but we're not going to think about that. We're just thinking about the basic joint of the coffin bone and the short pastern bone. And so when all that anatomy is forced forward into that joint, pushing that joint forward, and it's right at the hairline in the center of the dorsal wall up there. Okay, it pushing that forward, it forces that coffin bone to rotate back. See? And so there's a constant pressure on the coffin bone, pulling it back, forcing the joint forward. And see, even if you take your finger there, pretend that's like your leg or something, and some jerk comes up behind you and hits you in the knee. Okay, you're going to see that. Okay, try this experiment. Take your finger and set it up. I should hook up my phone maybe so we can see. See, what I want to do is I've got a bunch of dissections to do, so I want to take the bones out of them. And I'm going to set up a whole deal to show exactly how this happens with those bones and with make some stuff out of digital cushion and show how this happens. So just a minute, I'm gonna okay, I'm gonna get this working here so I can show you. Just a second. Okay, where are you? IV cam, here we go. Oh, there we go. So let's see. Let me stop share for a minute. And see, I don't see. I so hate to take feet apart that I don't have any coffin bones. Well, I might have one over here. I still can show it, I think. Okay. So let's just put this thing right here. Eh. Why don't you want to fit? Okay, I see why. Okay, so here's my finger. Well, here. We're talking about joints, how joints work, right? So here's my finger right here. And pretend this is my knee right here. Okay. And uh, so if somebody comes up behind you and they push your joint forward here, you see what happens? Pretend that the edge of my finger here is the toe of the coffin bone in like that. See? And then you push that coffin joint forward because all this anatomy back here, okay, is going to push in like this, push into the joint, and see how it tips that up on its toe. If it keeps pushing forward, eventually it pushes it back like that. Well, okay, so let me find something here. Here, let's say this here. Let's say this here. Just a minute here. Okay. Okay. Let's say this is the wall. Here's the hoof wall. Okay, on the coffin bone, which is right here. Okay. And so normally it'd be like this. But if I start, I'm going to make it even different. Just a minute. If I can make this. Okay. Okay. So there's the hoof wall, this little piece right here. Okay, so this is your pastern. Here's your short pastern joint here. Here's your coffin bone, the end of my finger. Okay, so then all this anatomy back here starts pushing up into this joint right here. Okay. If we see that, that's exactly what it does, people. Okay. Here you go. This is the hoof wall and the coffin bone, bleh, coffin bone joined together. All the pressure of the anatomy back here, digital cushion, cartilages, the works, being shoved up into the back of this does that. Okay. And so it could be like this. See how it's changing the angle there? Like that. That's what happens I mean, that is exactly what happens. And you know how a lot of times you'll see a bump right at the hairline here? That's because that's being pushed forward. Because okay, that is your coffin bone. Only this little bone right here is just like your coffin bone, and this knuckle is just like your coffin joint. So let's do it again. So it's setting like this, and if we force it forward, first of all, look, it's taking this, it's forcing it down, back like that, like that. There you go. And so then instead of aiming like that, what happens is this. Whole bony column changes there. There we go. That is exactly what happens. Did you see that? Did it make sense?
Yes.
Any, hello?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And that's why it looks like then, if you think about what the whole foot looks like, would not make sense. It's pushing a bunch of stuff toward the back of the foot, right?
Yeah.
Then that's where you get the height at the back of the foot from all that stuff
Yeah.
being pushed to the back of the foot because the toes rotated.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying. See, I've been trying to figure that out. Um, okay, so the back of the foot is coming and pressing it forward, but then it's pushing back and lifting the back of the foot up.
Yeah.
And
Like the
so
digital
then,
cushion and all that would get
yeah,
like cartilages would get shoved backwards
yeah, exactly.
from
That,
that
yeah, good.
rotation
Thank you.
happening. Yeah.
That's what they say is when your cartilages are getting stronger.
Yeah. Um, uh, yeah, that's exactly right there too, because especially if everything holds together, then it's bending the foot. Well, if the foot won't stay bent, then the back of it, boom, comes up, you know. And so they think that's heel, but in reality, it's all hoof distortion, and there's a whole foot in there, and the foot. See, they call it coffin bone rotation on the other side. I say, well, it's a combination of, yeah, the coffin bone is being forced to rotate, but then the back of the foot is being. See, I'm glad we did this because when you said that, how now that the toe is going back, it's pushing all that anatomy back, isn't it?
Yep.
So that the back of the foot then is going to get pushed up. That makes perfect sense. See? And so then they look at it. They don't know there's a foot in there. They just say, oh, it's got high heels because they're just looking at the capsule. You know, and I can understand exactly the logic behind why somebody would look at that, without knowing certain details like, well, you're not just dealing with a column of bones here. You got a whole foot covered with skin, and that's going to make a difference to how everything reacts to what's going on.
I
And
sent you a picture of one of Gordon's front feet that has the bump on the front of it really good.
okay, um, let's see here.
I was blessed with these horses with all kinds of issues for you, Linda.
Yeah, hey, it's awesome. Well, just think about it, maybe down the road somewhere, all of our combined effort here is going to pay off to save people and horses in the future. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. I got a different share here. Hold on. Dum, dum, dum. Oh yeah. Hey, this is awesome. Just a minute here. Okay, share. Where are you? Wow, this is a great example. How about that? I mean, wow, you can just really see it. Now you can see the whole thing. The little popsicle stick I had here, and then the anatomy going in back here, shoving up into the joint, and then shoving into this joint right here. And so it's forcing the toe, internal toe of the coffin bone back this way and the wall this way. This is a perfect example.
So this is a horse that has never been lame as if he was foundered ever.
Huh.
And I pulled his shoes and started trimming him. And the vet was coming for one of our 6 months, visits. And so I said, I want to x-ray his feet before I really get into trimming him so that down the road we can x-ray and see if there are any changes. So
Uh-huh.
she takes x-rays and pulls them up and she said, well, there's rotation. There's like 8 degrees rotation. That's what you were expecting. And I went, no, but I'm not surprised.
Wow. So do you have the x-rays?
Yes, I'll have to hunt them up
How
here.
see, you are here for a reason today. All right. We're supposed to talk about this, I'm sure.
Let's
Not
see.
because we're being led by the Great Spirit, but because this is research. This is how research happens when people contribute stuff. See?
Oh, let's see. I have to trying to remember. I don't know whether I ever sent them to you when we looked at his feet before.
Well, and see if you did, they'd be on.
I know, but they would be on my thing to you, but I might can go just actually find them.
Okay. And I have a new page now.
Yeah. Um,
And I've been staying good. Staying good, trying to keep it all hoof stuff except for a little doggy stuff now and then.
all right, let's see. Let me find that's the right front. Let me find the right front.
Man, this is such a perfect example. Oh, I mean, just the way the cartilages are pulled down, that bump, it's just perfect. I mean, and you can just see the way the wall is being pushed out, forced forward. See, it's all structural mechanics. So of course you got elites doing stuff. They never built nothing in their life.
All right, I sent it.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see it. That's gonna be exciting.
Now
Exciting.
it's facing the opposite direction, but it's the right front. She has a tendency to flip them all where they're pointing the same direction. But
Oh wow. Yeah, you can do I have it on there?
yeah,
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, you can see it. Look. You can see the curves in the wall here, pushing everything in like that. See? And
and
then
that
that's
pushes all that other stuff back up into the heel.
yeah. Yeah. And so see, I never realized that before today. Okay. See it plain as your nose on your face now, you just don't think about it. But okay, so all this is pushing this into here, which is rotating this back this way, pressing this towards the sole and back this way, and the wall that way. But that would also tend to then push the heel, the stuff back this way and up that way, right?
Yeah.
Like in him, it's not bad. Everything's kind of holding together, but you can see how eventually the heels could just get higher and higher,
Yeah, so
you
this is
know?
a horse that didn't present as a foundered horse,
Yeah.
but he was rotated.
Isn't that
Um,
something?
and he's never been able to go without shoes on front. He
Mm-hmm.
just was not ever comfortable without shoes. And now we know why.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why he would have needed that support to hold him together there. Because everything's wanting to move and go that foot is like I say, this is wanting to go this way. But he's got a whole foot back here. So it's kind of wanting to all go up that way. It's being pressured this way and that way. that can't be comfortable for sure. So I can
Yeah.
see why with a shoe on, he would feel more stable.
Yep.
Well, this is really, really interesting. I mean, look how right in here, see, you can see how he's just, his toe once pressed down here, but good for him. He hasn't, his foot had stayed together in such a way, except this looks like he might have developed a little side bone, maybe not. Right there. What do you think?
Well, she didn't have a comment about that when we looked at the X-ray.
Okay, maybe
So
maybe it's just a coffin bone wing, but no, it's not. There's a little bit of
you got a little extra
calcification there,
there.
I think. But uh it's this really interesting foot all the way around and a really good example of demonstrating this whole deal. So, now if we just imagine we're not just dealing with the coffin bone, or not even, we know there's a digital cushion in there and everything like that. And look at this collateral groove here. See, that's not supposed to be there. That's supposed to be back here. See, that's another thing people can look at is where's the collateral groove? It's supposed to be, as far as I know, and anything we know is subject to change as we learn more. But it's supposed to be, it's right here, and it's supposed to be more right here. See, in ones that I've looked at, like got Pete Ramey did a wild horse on his wild horse that he got in California there. He did an x-ray of it, and so the collateral groove was not directly under the coffin bone wings here. See, you can see how that would push that up. All this coming in here, pushing up, forcing up into there. And of course, I can see why it'd be confusing. Um, Now, see, I've never been a focuser on that whole bony column thing because I always figured if you got the foot right and the capsule to fit the foot right, that the bony column's going to line up however it's supposed to, you know. So I never went above and board on any of that, but I know that it's a big deal in farriery that they're always focusing on that, getting that bony column aligned. Um, but I imagine it has a difference as to whether you think the coffin bone should be ground parallel, flat. Let me see here. Like, okay, so here it is. Okay, that would be ground parallel. That's what they would want. Okay, and so there are a lot of barefooters that would look at this and go, even here, the heels are too high. See, because they would want that coffin bone to be like that. But then you can get, but ideally, that's not that far off, which is probably helping that horse be sound. If at all, it'd be about like so, because it is forced up a little. But
I mean,
somehow,
it's about 8 degrees, I think, is what it was.
oh,
Rotation.
this here.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
The
are
foot,
they
the coffin bone, she measured it at 8 degrees
okay?
a rotation.
But does she mean that there, or is she talking about this here?
Yeah, the rotation of the coffin bone from the front of the coffin bone to the front wall was eight
Okay,
degrees
8 degrees right in here,
Yeah.
right? Okay, okay, because
So his
this,
toe would be a little bit higher if it wasn't rotated. So the
yeah,
bottom of the coffin bone would be a little bit lower down if it
yeah.
wasn't rotated.
See, you can see these shadows, where it belongs. Okay, do you see the
Yeah,
shadow in
yeah,
here?
yeah.
Okay, now it's a little congested right there because you got this soul corium growing some soul right in there. But this would be right here. Right there. And so if that was to go up about to there, then this would go to about there. And of course, you need a little more heel just to bring it up a little, but
Yep.
about like so, don't you think?
Yep.
So this is great. Thank you for sharing this.
So
Really
I
interesting.
just sent you another picture of his I think it's his other front foot that
Okay.
when I got behind on trimming coming out of the winter.
Uh-huh.
So it's like in major distortion mode.
Okay.
So that might be interesting
Okay.
to look. Talking about letting a foot grow out. And
Got behind a little. Well, that's really interesting.
so he's had these lines on his hoof for quite some time.
Uh-huh.
They are never looked like this because I've let his foot get grown out.
Uh-huh.
This is the foot that went splat. The other foot did not go splat like this.
Okay.
But I have never had anybody be able to explain to me what those diagonal lines, coming wavy lines across the front of his foot are.
I don't
Where
know.
they come.
They're
Yeah,
they're re-
they're not reproducing. They're growing out now and they're not there.
huh.
So whatever I'm doing is fixed whatever was causing that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's really interesting.
And worse on this foot than on the other foot.
Uh-huh. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just I know that they can you know that probably is. That's periopal for some reason. I mean, look at it up here.
So would he have
See?
had more pressure on the medial toe quarter that would have jammed it up as opposed to, and it grew out that way? Or
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, well,
longer
it's
on that
already
side?
here.
Yeah.
Let me draw here. Um, let's see here.
And that was a nasty crack that went
He's
on the front.
already like this.
Yeah.
See that?
I have seen where
Not
horses
as
will
much
get
here.
like a
Oh,
and can you hear me?
oh, yes. Okay, now I can hear you. You're kind of cutting out there. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I have seen where horses will get like a V shape that grows like that.
Okay.
And the consensus that it's a fungal infection, the coronary band. And
Okay.
like as it spreads, it grows down.
Okay.
So that might be what it is.
You were kind of cutting out there, Rachel. Which
Oh, sorry. I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
oh, okay. Which hey, at some point too, I want to talk about your geometry lesson you gave us. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And
Thank
what
you.
I have to have you help me with some other geometry stuff. But I do think these lines are part of periopal too, because you see all these cracks and stuff. Look at how thick his periopal is. Okay, so the very outer layer is periopal. All these fine cracks and stuff you're seeing there, that's all periopal too. And so you can see, I think Janet pointed out he's got kind of a funky crack here, right there. So, I mean, he's pretty uh, pushed up here. And the thing about him is his feet have held together. If you look at how thick that periopal band is, that periopal band has done a magnificent job at binding that foot so it stayed together and he didn't full on founder, you know, and it's grown this thick layer of periopal all over the foot. Now, he does have this here. Well, look here. See that? And even right there. So it is just kind of coming down. See the lines?
Yep.
You know what's interesting about this foot? It's the opposite of that foot that where the sides came off and the toe went real long.
Which foot was that?
Well, the foot I talked about where the toe just stuck out in the front and the quarters and everything broke off and it looked like
Oh
he was
yeah,
away
okay.
the
But
finger.
you didn't show us a picture though, did you?
Your picture, the one you showed one time. So this hoof broke
Oh,
right in the toe front
okay.
and the quarters stayed long instead of the other way around.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying. And but like when these get long, they will always crack the foot right in the center. You know, that would be a what okay, so like if the pillars get longer or higher, they will become levers like that, and then you'll see this little crack here.
I
But
just find it amazing that those pieces haven't tried to break off.
yeah, well they're probably pretty thick, you know. Um
I
it's an
sent
in
you I sent you another picture from July, his
Oh,
trim I did
okay.
last month. I trimmed him just recently, but evidently I didn't take pictures.
Okay. Yeah. Well, see, now that's interesting too.
So that's the last of the lines.
Huh.
That top
Yeah,
one.
they're growing out good.
Yeah, and I really struggle with getting his toe quarters. I think I'll have them, and then like 3 days later, I'm like, wait, they're not back as far as they're supposed to be.
Yeah,
So
and but that's because he's so jammed up
yeah, it's dropping
that
down.
it's dropping down on you.
So it looks
Um,
even better than that. This last trim I did, he looks
that's
even better
great.
than that.
That's great. Well, heck, this horse has and again, you look up here, he's got a
Yeah.
really thick periopal band. See? And uh, so he's been dropping periopal over his whole hoof, binding that whole thing together. And that's ultimately what saved him. It's bound the back of his foot so it didn't come loose and
Well,
pop up and
so the interesting thing about him is he's half Mustang.
oh really?
His mom is a what was the wild caught Mustang. Yes.
Well, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
That may be explaining some of it there.
Yeah.
And he's got short little pasterns too.
I mean, he got his sire is a curly. His
Uh-huh.
uh his grandsire straight curly. His sire is curly thoroughbred cross.
Wow.
The mare, the Mustang mare, was just coarse, looked like a little quarter horse, just really coarse headed, heavy
Mm-hmm.
boned, and everything. The stallion was super refined. Um,
Wow. What a
Coming
combo.
off the thoroughbred. His grandsire now was coarser too, and heavy boned.
Uh-huh.
But he got the best of both worlds.
Wow.
Yeah, good
Well,
bone, big feet. You know, much more refined in his head than his mom.
uh-huh.
Not as refined as his dad, but yeah,
Wow. That's really interesting. Well, that's awesome that he never full on foundered, and that you got x-rays.
yep,
See? And see that it'd be interesting to see what his actual periopal looked like if you ever wanted to shave that off.
yeah. I know. I'm so bad. I mean, it's just the amount of time it takes. A lot of times, I don't even rinse them. I just scrub the dirt off of them and go because I just don't have that time.
Yeah. No,
Like
I
I said, I
understand,
don't have
believe me.
pictures from his last trim, which I'm like, wait, did I not take pictures? And evidently, I didn't.
Ah. So see this bump here?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's just showing that this kind of goes up pretty good there. See? And
yeah,
look at it there. See?
and
Now,
that's why quarters keep dropping down after I trim them.
yeah. Yeah, especially this one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because that wall is just wanting to totally come out. So then it would be able to come back and bring everything back and, get rid of your crack in the middle of the.
yeah. That crack is, you can see I've got it packed with cotton because it
I,
went way up in his foot.
oh, yeah.
Uh, So I put Be Gone and packed it with cotton to keep that up in there. And it's just a small crack that I'm not even treating now down at the bottom of his foot.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing this. This is really super interesting and it really fit right into what we were talking about, how that happens. And see, it's interesting. I've been looking at that stuff all week. I've been looking at this war going on. The war going. I'm glad it's not me. All right. I'm glad it's not me and stuff. She is going to take the brunt of something I've been saying for years. How many years have I been saying it's these trims that are causing all this? Years, right? And even before I learned about the heel buttress, I knew that we were all led, including Ferrier and everything else, that this was leading into mechanical laminitis and stuff. And then all of a sudden, here comes Lindsay with her blowhorn because she markets, right? And so, uh, with her blowhorn, it's your fault. You're causing it, you know, when I've been saying that, but not as loud. But now, because of her marketing expertise, they're hearing it loud and clear. The only thing is the reasoning she's giving, we know is probably not correct. The reason that the horses are having this toe separation and laminar wedge is not because the heels have been growing high, but because of how the heels trimmed low start pushing all that anatomy up into that foot and stuff. So it's interesting to see and stuff their response. Okay, because I've just been saying it on a quieter level, not making a big splash, but still ticking people off whenever I said it. But she went full on marketing out there and stuff, and so now they're all getting upset. You know, um, they're all getting upset because she's stirring up the status quo. And even though she may not be right in why it's happening and many different things like that, she's still right about it's the way they're trimming, you know. Unfortunately, it's also going to be the way she's trimming if she's just taking the heels out and leaving toe. But here's the thing, in regular trimming, they're taking toes back too, which she isn't doing now. And so that's going to have a completely different effect. Um, a different type of slower type of different distortion. Um, so I mean, everything we do to these horses affects their feet and stuff. And so, yeah. Now, the thing is, though, what they'll do is they're talking about her, but they will not use her name. Okay, like the guy I was telling you about that wrote this article about. They talk about her. There's this dangerous person out there and they won't even say she half the time. They'll just say they. And a couple times I thought, are they talking about me? And then I realized, no, they weren't talking about me. They're talking about Lindsay and Hoof and Marvelous and how they don't like the ideas and don't like her saying that it's their trim that's doing it. And the thing about it is, I don't think, yeah, we don't we, me, whatever. I don't think she's right in her interpretation. Also, don't think she's right in many, many things. But the fact of the matter is, she is right in that. Yeah, it's a trim causing this one way or another, you know. And so, so it's interesting to talk about it because I want to understand exactly what she believes. Um, because because if it's true on one end but really incorrect on another, I want to understand why. And so what you brought up about what they're looking at x-rays, okay? We want to understand exactly what her logic is, what her interpretation is, what it's based on, okay? And then understand how to, if it's incorrect, to refute it. See, to refute it with logic and true anatomy and things like that, because there are just things, because see, I know that her foundation is in Jamie Jackson. So I already know that his teachings were based on highly questionable if he ever took more than one photo at Litchfield or not. All right. So the interpretations of how you should trim and how a foot should look and what the coffin bone should look like and everything like that. Okay, if that's her foundation, then when she looks at things, and this is for anybody, not just her, this for anybody, it's for us. What is our foundational understanding of the anatomy? Is it accurate? Because only then can we look at something and give a correct interpretation as to what is happening to that foot. You know, so yeah, I want to understand, and so this conversation here is really the beginning of that. We'll have to come up with a lot more examples and things like that to demonstrate and using. See, and here's the thing too. Jamie Jackson, he had his one dead wild horse foot. Now, originally he had two, the front and the back. But see, here's another thing I noticed. Okay. So there's another group or individual closely connected with Hoofy Marvelous. And so they're taking pictures. I noticed because I take a lot of pictures. So they're taking pictures of this way that a foot can change in one trim. But I noticed that the angle of the picture is distinctly different. That instead of a perfect, absolute, full-on side profile where you don't hardly have any of the dorsal wall, and I'm not saying they're doing this on purpose. I don't think they are. Okay. But when you take as many pictures as we have, see, not only my own pictures looking at them, but looking at the pictures you people take. Okay. So if you take a perfect side profile, which even to take a perfect side profile, you have to come back a little bit more towards the heel so you don't get the toe in. That foot looks completely different than then you carry the camera forward more towards the toe and aim it back. And so it can make the foot look completely different. And so I noticed that this happened in two different photos on two different horses, that they were trimmed, and then the statement was made, this is how much of a difference one trim can make. And I'm not saying that the trim didn't make difference. I'm saying that the angle of the picture was different, that might have made it look better than it did. Okay, because in taking my own pictures, I take pictures where I see the foot in a certain light that looks better to me. Okay, and it is tempting to want to only choose, and I'm not saying they did this. I'm not saying this at all or anything. Nothing like that. But what I am saying is that it is tempting to want to choose the picture that looks better. See, I could take you into my pictures right now and show you, you know, and then present that to you, see, and stuff. But see, I know that people can do this on purpose, but I don't think they're doing that. Okay. I know the temptation to do so. And so I know that out there in hoof land, and again, I'm not at all saying that they are doing this in any way, shape, or form, but I do know out there that that photos and science and this and that is chosen and picked to try and uh, support a hypothesis or a theory or an idea or a teaching to make it look like that's the way it is. And I'm not even saying that people always do it on purpose, but I can tell you that it could be done on purpose. See, and probably, and again, not saying they are, because I'm just not going to go there uh, with those groups or anything like that, because I think people really have the best intentions in mind. But we have all been misled for 2,000, not 2,000, 2.5 centuries coming from the first vet schools. I mean, if there wasn't already such a big problem with hoof care, and of course it all started in the vet schools. Okay, if there wasn't such a big problem there to begin with, there never would have been room for somebody like Jamie Jackson to come in being a hoof prophet. See, because that's what he, from his writings, he thinks he is somehow, I don't even know a word for it. Somehow, uh, I don't know if you'd use the word divine, okay, but he thinks he's somehow mystically led to be the hoof savior of the world. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not even speaking bad. I'm saying that's exactly what he puts forth in these books and in his new biography. So that's not science. And you cannot treat a physical body like that. Okay, you might as well go back to bloodletting and leeches. See, of course, I guess I do use leeches now for a few things, maggots too, for that matter. But what I'm saying is that's not peer-reviewed science, and his stuff was, in reality, never peer-reviewed. And I think I told you a story about when I first heard about trims based on wild horse feet. It was through in Montana with a farrier by the name of Rich Clark up in Kalispell, Montana. And he was telling me about this research of a guy named Gene Ovenick, how Gene Ovenick uh, spent time with BLM researching wild horse feet, and he was showing me a trim he was doing based on the research of wild horse feet. And man, it just clicked with me, having been raised in Wyoming and off and on all my life been around wild horses close up. And so having that experience, it just really, really clicked with me. Um, but that's not what we have with Jamie Jackson's supposed research. It's not the same at all as what Gene Ovenick did. Gene Ovenick had photos of all his work. Jamie Jackson, not one photo in his main book that came out in 3 different editions at 3 different years. Um, so uh, that's not science. That's pseudoscience. That's already having a belief and then going about to make it seem true. And I can't even tell you how many times the word nature is used in that book. I mean, to the extreme, because it's a form of nature worship. And if you want to worship nature, be my guest, but don't pawn it off on me as a science. See, and there's probably more of that done in this world than we know, because that is the oldest religion in the world. Okay, it's not Christianity, it's not Judaism, it's not Islam, it's not Buddhism, it's not Hinduism, it's not Sikhism, it's not Baha'i, any of the number other of major religions that there is. It is basic nature worship, attributing to nature everything, magical properties, attributing to nature magical, mystical properties. And that book is jam packed full of that. And now we know why. And so, Rich Clark, I left Montana and then I didn't get a hold of him again for many years until I got into this stuff here. And here a few years ago, I called him, and it was really before I even knew much like what I know now about Jackson's claims to research or his books, because it took me a long time to put all these pieces together. So Rich Clark says, yeah, he says, Gene and I, because he traveled with Gene Ovanik. He learned to shoe from Gene Ovanik. He is a natural balance trimmer, natural balance farrier. Because while Jamie Jackson developed natural trim only barefoot, Gene Ovanik tried to do this natural trim and was losing customers because the horses weren't staying sound. So instead, he came up with a shoeing and a trimming regime, which natural balance shoes. So Rick told me, Rich, he said they went to a farriers convention in 1993, and Jamie Jackson, hold on. Hold on, I need a drink of water. Jamie Jackson was giving a talk, so him and Gene thought, well, let's go to it because Gene had been doing the research and developed this whole program and stuff too. And so he just told me he went to it. I I didn't really ask him what it was about or anything. Well, then a year or two later, I talked to Rich again after I learned more about Jackson and that book, The Natural Horse, and realized that he had no photos in there of these feet he supposedly researched. And so I asked him then, I said, so you remember when you told me that you and Gene were at a farriers convention and Jackson was giving a talk and so you guys went to it? He goes, yeah. I said, well, what did he talk about? And mind you, this is long before I knew anything about Jackson's interview on YouTube, where he talks about the last day he was in wild horse country and he came up to a cliff and a mountain and a dark shadow came over him. And he said it was a mystical experience and that a voice said to him, your work here is done. Get the hell out of here. Your life is about to change. And so I hadn't even heard that yet, any of that stuff. But I asked him what he talked about. And he said, well, I don't know, but it seemed religious. Okay. Now you fast forward to this past year when I ran into Jackson's interview on YouTube is the first. Now I already knew because in his book he talks about, well, we just can't understand, it's just a magical mystery tour of nature that makes the wild horse's foot what it is. That's pretty, that in and of itself, saying stuff like that, it's just the magic of nature and blah blah blah, that in and of itself, you're going, well, that's not science, you know and so uh then I find out about that interview on YouTube where he says that. Then here this year, I've been on his NAACP, whatever organization site before. I've read his bio. Now he has an extended bio where he has put out the fact that he practiced the Indian religion, which is nature worship and multiple deities, and that he got a vision, and this is what started him on his hoof quest, so to speak. And so now he's really going for it. He's really letting it all out there. And then come to find out, I'd seen the book before, but had no interest in it, which is, let's see here. Hold on. Okay. Oh, well, it is pinned. Let me undo this here just a second. Let's see. Okay, stop share. Okay. Right here. This book here, I just ordered it last a week or so ago because uh, he says in his bio, extended bio, where now we know that this ain't all science, folks, that he felt like visions were leading him and stuff like that. Now we know um, that it's not that. And so in that he says, I've written more about it in my book Horse Trek Into the Mystic. See that? Into the Mystic. And I mean, I'm telling you, it'll knock you down. It's okay. It grabs you from the moment you open the book. Um, and the stuff that he starts telling you. Now he was in he should have been in Vietnam, but instead he was a medic and he got sent to uh, South Korea, and he was on the DMZ. And they had this job. It was interesting. He's supposed to get sent to Vietnam 3 or 4 times and wound up not going, or he probably wouldn't have come back. And so he never had no hooky pook experience. I call it hooky pook experience when I don't care I don't care who you are, what religion you are, when you have an encounter with any kind of we have historical records going back ages of people having, experiences, whatever they're from. And so he says that he was in South Korea on the DMZ, and they were going around to different soldiers collecting blood to send to Vietnam. And they were on one of those those helicopters, like you see on the Vietnam videos, however it is, they're on a Humvee. No, that's a car. I forget what they're called. But anyway, they're on a helicopter and they go out and they land in this one place. And they're coming back in the dark, and somehow he ran into uh part of the helicopter that stuck out. It hit him in the nose and in the front of the face and knocked him out cold. And while he's out cold, he's transported into another place. Like this is what visions are like. Visions are like a dream. Well, they're not even like a dream. It's like you're really there. That's what a vision is like. Okay, a vision is different than a dream. Okay, a dream can seem real because you're there, but a vision is even more so, to where you literally think, now I have not had one, but but the people literally think they've been transported into another time and place. And so he is transported into Vietnam. Now he's in Korea. He's transported into Vietnam, and he finds himself on a battlefield. He can smell the smoke. He can feel the humidity, everything. And he goes up, can't remember if it was a foxhole or what, but he walks into this place, and there's a Marine laying there, and a guy laying there. He says he's a Marine and he's wounded very badly. And he says the whole time he's feeling like he's being guided. And so he says, he asks the Marine what his name was. And the Marine says, my name is James W. Jackson. And Jamie says, kind of freaked me out because that's my name. And so he says this spirit or whatever is talking to him and telling him and leading him and telling him to take this Marine out of there and take him to the curtain. And he knows somehow he's supposed to take this guy to the curtain, and that the guy is supposed to go through the curtain. And he says he's assuming that uh, that's like the guy is dead and he's sending him over to the other side, right? And so he sends him through the curtain. The next thing he knows, he's waking up. He's back in South Korea, and they're saying, "Hey, man, you've been out. You knocked out cold." So he didn't really understand what went on or nothing like that. He didn't think of it too much again until he has three more similar versions, only he's not knocked out. At one point, he's getting on a plane. While he's getting on, boom, next thing he knows, he's in Vietnam. And he runs into these Viet Cong and they take him. I can't remember where they take him and they put him in a cage. But they wind up letting him go and not killing him for some reason. And then the next thing he says, next thing, there I am, I'm back at the plane. So he has like four of these visions. And by the end of them, uh, he says that the old Jamie is dead and the new one is the one that's there now. See? So he doesn't understand this. He doesn't know where it's going, really, or none of that. But later, he always feels like he's being led by this entity or this spirit or whatever is going on there. And so then later, um, he goes on a vision quest because, see, his dad kind of got him into the Indian religion. I mean, India like American Indian. And so he goes on a vision quest. I haven't read that part of the book, but he goes on a vision quest up to South Dakota where you get in a teepee and you don't eat for 4 days and you cry to the spirit to give you a vision for what your life is supposed to mean. And in the vision, he sees a horse. He never had nothing to do with horses his whole life. This is like 1973 or something like that. I have to read more to get the exact dates on. So he sees a horse in the vision. He has no interest in horses, never been around a horse, never touched a horse, nothing like that. But from that point on, he has another vision or two, and he's eventually led to buy a horse that looks just like the horse in his vision. And then he goes on a horse trek. I can't remember, it was around Florida, through Florida. And you got to understand too that this guy's full on uh, into the American Indian culture, things like that, to the point to where he's got a business building teepees. He starts a deal tanning hides. And then he does a trip on a horse around, and then he says, I'm being led to the Northwest, where he winds up with Leslie Emery. He winds up shoeing his horse. That's what happened first. He winds up being led to become a shoer of the horse. Then later, he's led to the Northwest to go shoe with Leslie Emery, where he then, okay, so Leslie Emery was the writer of the book Horseshoeing Theory and Hoof Care that was advocating since 1977 that horses should have heels and that it cured navicular. And so what Jamie did in making friends with just the guy that was the writer, it wasn't his ideas. Okay, them two kind of in cahoots together, wanting to see wild horse feet. So he'd send Jamie to Litchfield. He sees one horse's foot, takes a picture of it, decides it's flat, doesn't have heels because he didn't know what he was looking at, and then tells Leslie Emery, "Oh, your ideas in the book ain't gonna work. Horse's heels flat as a pancake." Emery says, "Well, how can that be? How can they have a steep dorsal wall and no heel?" And Jamie says, "I don't know. I'll have to figure that out." And so when you get in his book, there are no pictures. Instead, what you have are his drawings. See? His drawings of that one dead wild horse foot that wore its heels out, the rear foot off of a mare that died in a roundup, and that foot is carted all over the country. See? Um, uh, so through his spiritual beliefs, which that's fine. That's, we live in a country, each to their own to a degree. Okay. Once you start doing, human sacrifice or something, we might draw a line at that. Okay. Um, but that's his spiritual beliefs, and his spiritual beliefs are directly linked into Mother Nature. And so he thinks horses don't have no heels. And so he goes about to try and prove it. And so he goes and finds a dead horse that fits the bill. And that's the foot that became the model for the barefoot movement, and uh, came in and destroyed all the work done by Jim Miller and Niles Van Heusen, because Leslie Emery was just the rider and he had no commitment or real skin in the game. And so this book back here, man, that thing ought to be printed again. I'd like to find who the relatives are of Jim Miller and Niles Van Heusen and get it out of Emery's grasp. See, because this book here would have changed everybody's life, would have saved horses. See, I got it back here. That book right there, how that guy got his name first, should not have been, because all he did was compile it. It was Jim Miller and Niles Van Heusen, 12 years, 300 cases, 300 case studies in this book here. See? And yeah, Jamie Jackson. Oh, the theories in your book won't work. Horses don't have heels and they have a steep dorsal wall. I don't know how. I'll have to figure it out. Well, yeah, he figured it all right. He figured it by finding one hoof that had worn its heel out and its toe at the same time and managed to hold together. See, that's why the whatchamacallit, uh geometry, that's what I need help with. The little geometric tricks he did in his book to try and make it look like his one dead wild horse model was truth. See? So anyway, uh interesting, interesting book. Yeah. Okay. And fine. Hey, fine. You had your experiences and everything, but that's not science, people. It's been pawned off as science. And we all swallowed the pill or the Kool-Aid in this case. And our horses are the ones that are suffering for it. But, people suffer too, right? Okay. Well, that's all I got on that. Um, I got people say, "Oh, you should think of something different and you shouldn't say this and you shouldn't talk. Aren't we all just trying to get the same place?" No. Because this guy made everybody think they've arrived. And we got more lameness and more issues than ever before. More cases of laminitis too. It's epidemic. Horse foot problems are epidemic. See? So anyway, well, anybody have anything to say?
Um, Hi, Linda. This is Eleanor.
Hi.
Hi. I have a foot of a 14 months old, I think,
Okay.
filly, and she broke her heel. And I just wanted, I can't really take good photos, but I have one photo and I had to take quite a lot out because it started to damage. It's kind of, she started tearing it off. so it
Okay.
was going into the coronary band. So I just I just trimmed it, but not completely. So I was just wondering,
Are you
would you
sending a
keep?
picture?
I will send it now. My question is, would you trim it out completely, or if, because it's all about if it moves around, then I will have to take it out completely and regrow it, or just keep a little nubbing. I'm wait a second, I will send you the picture.
Okay. Okay.
Mm. And I had such a case once, but the tearing was much worse. So I had to go into coronary band and remove quite a lot of stuff, and it grew back.
Okay.
So, but Linda, Linda Harris, yeah, I did. I sent it. It's hind left foot, lateral side.
Oh, okay.
So I just
Okay.
took the nippers and I just took the chunk out because I didn't have any rope halter or anything to put on her.
Yeah.
And she was limping because she was pulling. So my thought was just to try to make sure to reduce the surface so she doesn't pull so much. But maybe I will just have to remove the whole nubbing.
Yeah. So how old is this horse again?
Like 14 months.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, from what I see, she just may not be. What's her frogs like? You probably don't have any pictures, right?
I don't have, oh, I don't know. Wait a second. Just check. She doesn't have. Ooh, maybe I will find her.
Well, it wouldn't have broke out like that if it probably didn't need to.
I think
That
it's
there's
because
something going on that ain't there.
I trimmed that foot. I sent you the view. I trimmed that foot, and I think it's because and I wanted to send it to you because you remember we were talking about the holes.
Yeah.
I don't have the pre-trim view because I don't even have ropes sometimes to pull on them. So I just pick
Mhm.
up the foot and I just trim when they're
Okay.
eating. But you can see here because it was all kind of forward and the bars were grown. So when I trimmed, so the seat of corn actually has like it's lower than the sole plane, so it's like holes. You remember we were
Yeah.
talking about it? Yeah. So it just fell out the whole thing. So
Okay.
I clean it out. So I think her heels are weakened anyway. And maybe that's why, because that side was more pulled kind of to the side. That's why it broke. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, and just her foot is growing, and actually if it was me, I'd come in here and I'd put a notch over here because it looks like you already got one over here, and then just lower these nubbins off these heels
Yeah,
here.
that's what I will do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd make this side here. That I don't see nothing wrong with that. I bring it down to here a little bit. Take this out here too. That'll help
Okay.
her foot expand.
Yeah.
Because if she was out uh in the right environment and doing a lot of grazing, she'd be rolling her foot from side to side and
Well,
and
yeah.
wearing this area kind of down so that as her foot was growing, it could expand more.
Well, they can't do it at our place because it's sand, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is no, I mean, they don't have, they have quite a, not in a small place. It's like couple of hectares of land, but it's all
Uh-huh.
sand. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so they're just not going to wear their feet off as much as they should ideally,
yeah. Okay.
So you have
So
to be
I
the
will lower
environment.
it and then hopefully I can document it how it
Yeah.
develops. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Good.
that'd be great. And yeah, and also getting more of this area of the frog down too, probably so that everything can kind of expand here more.
Good.
See?
Okay.
Yeah, because her foot will be growing. So it's like a form of foot binding when the frog and bars and all that and is not like kept down, you know, to where like as if she was getting a whole bunch of movement on a little bit rougher terrain and stuff like that, to where she's wearing her frog down and wearing the heels and things like that, to the point to where her foot could expand as it was growing. See the similarity? You know,
Yeah.
on the one hand, you have a small capsule that needs to expand, the foot is growing. And so if the whole back of the capsule and different things don't wear off properly, then the foot still keeps growing, but the capsule stays small.
Yeah.
So that's like foot binding, you know, where you got a horse, he could have a perfectly good sized foot, but all of a sudden people start taking the heels down. And at each trim, taking a little more heel down, which is pulling the whole back of the coronary band down and under and everything. And then
Yeah.
gradually you're making a smaller hoof capsule and you're taking that foot and you're compressing it into that smaller capsule. It's the same thing either way.
Yeah. Well, thank you for looking at it, and then
Yeah.
I will hopefully can document it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing it, dear.
Well, I can show the some pictures of this old mare I'm dealing with, who is really happy.
Okay.
now.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
And I posted a video of her just rolling,
Okay.
and I can just send like a small collage, and then that's it, maybe.
Okay.
But that what I'm happy about, that the foot started to change shape, so that's kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah, we'd like to see a happy horse.
It was so interesting because I trim one foot at a time, but this time she was just chewing and licking and chewing for I don't know how, and trying that foot, and finally she was just putting the weight on it, and then she was just bucking and galloping and everything.
Well, good. Good.
She was,
So you've taken enough down to where it's freeing up her foot. That's awesome.
yeah, so she seemed happy.
Yeah, and look at she's got good soul and stuff, so that's good. And the heels are
What I'm
starting to
happy
come a little
about that this,
uncontracted.
and the seat of corn is changing. You can see like the lateral side, how wider it became in comparison to the bottom one. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah, look here.
It's really
See?
jumped there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking much more symmetrical and balanced,
Yeah.
you know. Well, good job.
So she seems to be more comfortable.
That's what we're looking for.
And you know what is interesting? Her eczema, she had problem with the skin. It completely disappeared.
Well, isn't that it? That is interesting. So maybe that had to do with stress.
Could be.
You know, I mean, look at the difference in the shape. See?
Well,
How,
we have long way
you know,
to go, but the fact that she definitely, her temperament changed and her skin changed. Obviously, you know, you can't do anything. She needs to be treated for ulcers because she lived with pain all her life practically.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, if the owner can address that, then we will have really big improvement, I would say.
That's great. And I see a lot of improvement.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show.
Yeah. Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you so much for your time and for everything, Linda.
Hey, and thank you for being a contributor to this research. Couldn't do it without you. And that's the truth. Okay, does anybody else have anything they would like to comment or say or look at or?
I have a question as a follow-up to last week's retracted sole. It's
Okay.
Tiffany. So when I take down bars and the next day the bar looks like it's back, is that retracted bar sole that grows back so quickly?
That's see, now they used to say, well, it grew back because I needed it. Well, his bars could be bent up into his foot, and so when you take some down, it could just relax that so that it like moves some and
Oh,
looks like growth.
like if I unbutton my pants, like then I just
Yeah, there you go.
okay, 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 cool. Thank you.
There you go. I think so. You know, because bars just don't grow, just like wall don't grow. Like Kathy was saying about how she'd take down the pillar, okay, and then come out and it was like, I thought I took this down. What happened? See, because that wall is jammed up in there, and so uh, it gets let down. It looks like growth. So that could be the same thing happening to your bars.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. How's your horse doing, by the way?
He's great. He's happy.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you for asking and helping.
Okay, dear. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Me too.
I enjoy your posts.
We enjoy making them. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything they want to say or anything? Roberta, don't be hiding over there. Are you
You know
there?
I am.
How is Miss Cheyenne doing?
Uh, we are trying to recover from that abscess still because
Okay.
it come out the coronary band.
Yeah.
It
Was that
covered the whole front of her foot.
so it was in the toe area?
I don't know where. Well, it could have come through there. It could have come through the frog or sole.
Yeah.
But it came out through the coronary band.
Oh, wow.
That's the foot where that sole gets soft and then it'll
Yeah.
get hard. That
Yeah.
yeah. Who knows? It's
You
always.
got x-rays on that foot, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for them to send them to me. Email. I gave them a few days.
Yeah.
I'll call them tomorrow and remind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to see them too.
Yeah,
Again.
I'd like to see them,
Yeah,
you know. Huh. Okay.
it's kind of. She's not really wanting to give me that foot, so I really can't do anything quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
just kind of waiting game.
Yeah, well, it really helped to see the x-rays.
Yeah. So, yep. As soon as I get them, I definitely will share.
Sounds good.
I know when we did take the first set, um, 3 different vets come out here because they had to come out several times, but all of them said, you got to take that toe. You'd have a good foot, you take that toe. Then it wouldn't look like there's separation from the coffin bone and the wall.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, there is. So you know me, I tried to explain what we do here, and
Yeah.
well, that didn't go too smooth.
Oh, I'm sure because they think they're God.
Well, and 2 of them didn't know what the term laminar wedge meant.
Yeah, that's pathetic, ain't it?
Yeah, but I explained it to them, but I don't know if they really understood, you know. But I don't know. I tried.
Yeah, that's too bad that they don't, the teaching in vet schools is
Yeah,
pathetic,
yeah,
Well, obviously,
yeah.
we had that creep Edward Coleman ruling for 40 years. It's his teachings that got cemented And then of course they had this separation thing between vets and farriers.
Mm-hmm.
That truce. I'll take the rest of the horse and you can have the feet.
Yeah. You
You know?
know, and it's the right foot, and I'm not so sure that she still has the laminar wedge on that right foot
Mm-hmm.
because the sole is it's different looking for sure. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it. It's real thick, but it's almost like you can see through it type.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh.
It's weird looking. And he by the wall, he dug probably a half inch.
Never found nothing?
Well, he dug towards the frog. He only went so far.
Okay.
But that sole is so weird looking. It's not normal, put it that
Yeah.
way. And yeah, I can't wait for you to see it so you can see
Yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I'm looking
That
forward to
makes me
seeing it.
Yeah, that makes me think that she doesn't have a laminar wedge because you would at least see, I would think you would see like the multiplying of the lamina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
not,
see the stretched lamina.
you do that at the toe, but once he was digging in, you don't see anything stretched. It's just solid, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I'll have to just show you.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're on the mend.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah, get on them about them x-rays. They
That,
aren't theirs. They don't belong to them.
yep. I will definitely call tomorrow for
And
a reminder.
sometimes they get that way too.
I know.
You know that?
Because they're so busy.
Oh,
We
yeah. Well, they ain't that busy.
understand.
Yeah. They
They
ain't
have
that busy.
people.
You know, you paid good money for them. So,
Oh, yeah. I don't even
yeah.
want to see the bill
Yeah. No kidding.
for sure.
So, okay. Well, yeah, get the x-rays and maybe you'll have them by next week and we can look at them.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to have them by this week.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
They know me. Hell, I've been with them 20 plus years at least.
Yep.
But anyhow,
Okay. Well, if you need any other help or anything, just give me a call.
I will. I will. I definitely will. Because I need to start trimming because where that toe, she's just going to have to grin and bear it because where that toe's so long now,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of separating.
Yeah.
So I definitely need to cut some off for sure.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's sometimes that's a difficult one,
yeah,
you know, and stuff. I'm more leery of how I deal with toes now than I used to be. It used to be, oh yeah, rocker that back, take that back, blah blah blah.
mm-hmm,
But now I know it's not always that simple,
yeah.
So that's why we haven't been taken to we I've talked about taking toes back for a very, very, very long time.
Been a while.
You know,
Yeah.
taking them down, which automatically takes them back,
Mm-hmm.
and doing different corrective measures while they will come back on their own. Because see, now I realize that you can't just take a toe back because you may have horn tubules going from mid quarter all the way up to the toe. Well, then how does the toe come back when you got horn tubules that are up there holding it forward to begin with? And I think that's why in the past horses got sore as well. You know,
Yeah.
you kind of have to work with the horn tubules, kind of a combination of things to get everything moving back. You know, you don't want to get the cart before the horse, so to
Yeah.
speak.
It sure is tempting, though.
Yeah, it is. You just want to take that toe off.
Holy moly, I gotta take that.
Yeah. Yep. So, okay, well, does anybody have anything else? Nay, nay.
I don't think so. It's just a good. This one is a good picture because last hoof chat we were talking, I think, with Davern, and
Yeah.
I asked about. We were talking about the using the hairline as a guideline at the back,
Uh-huh.
and the thing is, it can be misleading because both of it could be so rolled inwards that until the what do you call them? Not the bulbs start unfurling and unrolling. You don't really have, because one bulb can be jumped on top of the other basically.
Okay.
And that's a good picture because that was exactly the case in that comparison. But yeah, I don't have anything. It's quite late actually here, so
Oh
I
yeah,
have to
I
go
know.
to bed.
You're late over there.
Yeah.
Well, I always appreciate you being here.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
well, it sounds like that's all today then. So,
Have a
uh,
good day, everybody,
well,
in that
you
part of the
guys
world.
too. You guys too. And